Cancer feels like one of the cruelest betrayals in nature because it does not always come from outside you. It can begin inside your own body. One ordinary cell makes one tiny mistake while copying itself. Most of the time, the body catches it. It repairs the damage or destroys the cell before anything happens. But sometimes one damaged cell survives. Then it divides. Then those cells divide again. And years later, a person sits in a quiet hospital room, staring at a doctor, hearing words no human being is ever ready for. You have cancer. Cancer does not just attack the body, it steals time, it changes families. It turns normal days into appointments, scans, fear, waiting, hope, and grief. It takes children, it takes parents. It takes people who were supposed to have decades left. And because we see so much cancer today, it is easy to believe it is a modern disease. We blame pollution. We blame processed food. We blame cigarettes, chemicals, stress, and the way modern life keeps us sitting still. And yes, many of those things can raise cancer risk. But cancer itself is much older than the modern world. Much, much older. In 2016, scientists re-examined a fossilized foot bone from Swartkrans Cave in South Africa, part of the cradle of humankind. The bone was from an ancient human relative, not Homo sapiens, not even close. This creature lived roughly 1.7 million years ago. And inside that fossil, researchers found evidence of osteosarcoma, an aggressive malignant bone cancer. This was not just a broken bone. It was not a simple injury. Modern 3D imaging showed a destructive tumor growing in the foot of a hominin who walked the earth long before cities, writing, medicine, or civilization. The exact species is uncertain. It may have belonged to early Homo, or another human relative living in that same region. But the message is clear. Cancer was already there. Around the same period, researchers also found evidence of a benign bone tumor in a young Australopithecus sediba skeleton from South Africa. Together, these discoveries changed the way scientists looked at cancer in deep history. They showed that abnormal cell growth was not something that suddenly appeared in the industrial age. It was already part of the human story before humans like us even existed. And here is what makes the evidence even more haunting. Most cancers do not grow in bone. They grow in soft tissue. Organs, skin, blood, breast tissue, lungs, the stomach, the brain, and soft tissue almost never survives for millions of years. It decays. It disappears. It leaves no trace. So when we look at fossils, we are not seeing the full history of cancer. We are only seeing the cancers that were lucky enough or unlucky enough to leave marks on bone. That is called preservation bias. The ancient world may have had far more cancer than the fossil record can ever show us. That is why mummies matter so much. Unlike skeletons, mummies can preserve soft tissue for thousands of years. And when researchers use CT scans and modern imaging on ancient Egyptian mummies, they sometimes find something chilling. Tumors, bone lesions, possible soft tissue cancers, diseases hidden inside bodies that have been dead for thousands of years. One Egyptian woman from around 2000 B.C. showed evidence consistent with breast cancer. Another ancient mummy showed evidence of multiple myeloma, a cancer of plasma cells in the bone marrow. More recent imaging studies of Egyptian mummies have also identified probable malignant tumors in both bone and preserved soft tissue. So the record is not silent. Ancient bodies were telling the same story. Cancer was there, and ancient doctors saw it too. The Edwin Smith Papyrus, an Egyptian medical text dating to around 1600 B.C., describes hard tumors of the breast. The most devastating part is what the text says about treatment. There was none. Imagine that. Nearly 4,000 years ago, a physician examined a patient, recognized something terrible, wrote it down carefully, and admitted the truth. There was no cure. Centuries later, the Greek physician Hippocrates gave the disease a name. He used words related to crab because some tumors seem to grip the body with spreading projections like legs reaching outward. Later, the Roman physician Celsus translated that idea into Latin, cancer. That is the word we still use today. So across ancient Egypt, Greece, and Rome, people were not just suffering from cancer. They were observing it, naming it, trying to understand it, but they did not yet know what was happening inside the cell. Today, we do. Cancer begins when the instructions inside a cell become damaged. Our DNA is copied billions of times throughout life, and every copy carries a small risk of error. Usually the body has defenses, repair systems, immune surveillance, self-destruct signals for dangerous cells. But cancer happens when enough of those defenses fail. A cell stops obeying the rules. It keeps dividing. It ignores the signals to stop. It invades nearby tissue, and in some cases it spreads to distant parts of the body. That is why cancer is not just one disease. It is a breakdown of cooperation, a rebellion inside a body made of cooperating cells, and that is also why cancer is ancient. Any creature made of many dividing cells carries the risk. Dinosaurs had tumors. Ancient fish had tumors. Other animals get cancer today. Even plants can develop abnormal growths. Cancer is not simply a modern accident. It is one of the costs of being alive as a complex organism. So did ancient humans get cancer less often than we do? Probably yes, but not because they lived in a perfect natural paradise. The biggest reason is brutally simple. They usually died younger. In prehistoric life, infection could kill you. A broken bone could kill you. A bad tooth could kill you. Predators, childbirth, hunger, parasites, violence, all of these could end a life long before cancer had time to appear. Cancer often needs decades to develop. If many people died in childhood, young adulthood, or middle age, they never reached the window where cancer becomes most common. Modern medicine changed that. We survive infections that once killed millions. We repair injuries that were once fatal. We live long enough for the hidden risks of aging cells to catch up with us. And we are also much better at finding cancer. Today, a scan can reveal a small tumor deep inside the body. Ancient doctors could only see what was visible, what could be felt, or what had already grown too large to ignore. So part of the reason cancer feels everywhere now is that more people live long enough to develop it, and doctors can detect it far earlier. But modern life still matters. Tobacco raises the risk of lung, mouth, throat, and many other cancers. Obesity, inactivity, alcohol, air pollution, ultraviolet radiation, and certain diets can all increase risk. Processed meat is linked to colorectal cancer. Some infections can trigger cancer too. So the truth is not simple. Cancer is ancient, but the modern world can feed certain cancers in new ways. And this is why the deep history of cancer matters. If cancer has been fighting life for hundreds of millions of years, then evolution has also been fighting back for just as long. Scientists now study animals that should get more cancer but somehow do not. Elephants are a famous example. They are huge. They live a long time. They have far more cells than humans. By simple logic, they should get cancer constantly. But they do not. One reason may be that elephants carry many extra copies of TP53, a powerful tumor-suppressing gene sometimes called the guardian of the genome. When elephant cells suffer serious DNA damage, they are unusually good at shutting themselves down before they become dangerous. That discovery matters because nature may already contain solutions humans have not fully learned how to use. Cancer is not only a disease. It is an evolutionary battle, a battle between growth and control, between damaged cells and the body's ability to stop them, between life's need to divide and life's need to stay organized. A fossilized foot bone from South Africa, a tumor inside an Egyptian mummy, a warning written on ancient papyrus, a Greek doctor comparing a tumor to a crab, All of them point to the same terrifying truth. Cancer has been with us for longer than our species has existed. It was here before hospitals, before science, before anyone even knew what a cell was. But for the first time in that long history, we are not just afraid of it, we can see it. We can study it. We can detect it earlier. We can treat it better. And slowly, piece by piece, we are learning how to fight back against one of the oldest enemies life has ever known.